Welcome to this week's edition of Oregon Minute. Each week, OCA Media features a guest or community leader who shares information on topics important to you, our listeners and viewers. New weekly episodes are broadcast on our cable channels as well as on demand through our YouTube channel. Visit ocamedia.com for more information.
The Oregon Minute is brought to you with financial support from friends of OCA Media and viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to the Oregon Minute. I'm your host, Tom Kirchdoerfer. For this week, we're very excited to be talking to a group that's very active in the Oregon area, the Oregon Rotary Club of Oregon. To talk to us about this organization, we've invited Pastor Jim McCoid. Pastor, welcome to the Oregon Minute.
Thanks, Tom. Good to be here.
To get started, let's talk about your role and a little bit of the history of the Oregon Rotary Club.
Yeah, sure. So my family and I moved here about 6 years ago, and within a few months, actually, I was approached by Larry Marr and invited to attend a Rotary Club meeting. And I've been a member ever since. So I've actually been a member for about five and a half years now. And this year, I'm actually serving as the club president, and our year kind of begins in June and goes to end of July. So I'm kind of a relative newbie compared to some of the more seasoned members of the club. But yeah, we're a very active group, and we enjoy I think what was appealing to me about the club were three things. Great people that I was able to meet with, a few times a month. They also, at our meetings, we have different topics, different speakers that come in. And so they were really kind of engaging, interesting things, different things happening in the community, different topics of interest. And then, like you mentioned, very active group in the community trying to do good for Oregon.
Excellent. So you mentioned the active role in the community that the Rotary is involved in. In what ways has the Rotary Club of Oregon been active?
Yeah. So thinking about this question, I kind of put it into three categories. So one, really involved with the school district specifically. We offer a number of scholarships. So we've got our specific Oregon Rotary Foundation that supports 7 scholarships each year. And those are for vocational and college-bound students. So we've got 7 of those. Kids can apply for that, and they get 1-year scholarships, and then they can kind of apply to renew that, or we choose different students. We're also actually working on an 8th scholarship that would be even a larger, substantial scholarship built around eco-friendly, and environmental awareness and impact for a student. We also have been involved with exchange students for a very long time. I know, hearing stories from, even some of the members here who their students, their children had gone through as exchange students going outbound. And then also we have a very active inbound exchange student program. So we sponsor one every year from different parts of the world. So that's kind of really fun, again, as part of our monthly meetings or our regular meetings, to have these students participate and even share what's going on in their culture and in their communities and experience our community. We also have an Interact Club with the high school. So that is a specific group of students in the high school that are meeting to talk about service projects and how they can also impact Oregon as a community. And we kind of work in partnership with them. So that's kind of one area. Also more broadly speaking, kind of community impact. For about almost 30 years now, we've been sponsoring an annual bike rodeo. And a lot of people might actually be familiar with this. Kind of in the springtime, there's a bike to school day specifically for all the elementary schools here, 3 schools here, and then also in Brooklyn. And the Rotary Club actually comes to all of those, and we have people that are there helping them to, fix brakes, fix chains, straighten tires. We bring in some actual bike mechanics that help with some of that, and we kind of pay for all of that for the students so that they can have a bike now that the spring's around and the summer, to have a bike that's working to keep them moving. We also are, the Oregon Rotary Bike Trail. Many of you might be familiar with that. And that kind of runs up kind of on the north side of town, kind of parallel with or with Highway M. And our plan and hope is to actually connect that with the Badger State Trail at some point. So that's something we're still kind of working on. We've also been involved with Lerner Park. So back, I think 40, 50 years ago, that was just a wetland area, and a group of people from Rotary kind of saw an opportunity to come in and make this kind of a nice conservation area with some trails. And today that's, kind of a really, really well-trafficked part of Alpine Parkway. So if you haven't been to Lerner Park, I'd really encourage you to stop over there. There's an observation deck that people can see, and we just worked on that this summer. So yeah, really a lot of different outdoor projects that Rotary has been involved with. We've also helped with the Hoop House at the middle school, working with Nathan Marr, one of the science teachers there, for, again, kind of helping students to kind of become more aware of, being aware of environment and how things grow. We've also helped plant gardens at the youth center. And so made some little boxes, and different people that work at the youth center have always talked about, how they appreciate, and even the kids, kind of this realization like, oh, we can go out in our front garden and pick some peas and eat those peas along with our bags of chips and, other snacks. So I think that's really kind of a cool thing to work with the students in that way. We also have a regular roadside pickup that Oregon, the Rotary sends out right along Highway 14, right in front of town here. And we kind of pick up both sides of that.
Oh, really?
And I know the last thing also, we're involved in the food pantry. So once a week, we send a group of people, any number of people, to help kind of stock shelves and do whatever the food pantry needs help with.
So I guess that's I'm pretty familiar with a lot of that, I guess, just being around Oregon.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Oregon Rotary Club. It is part of a larger organization. Could you just tell us about the larger, I believe it's Rotary International?
Right, yeah. So Rotary International is basically clubs like ours all around the world that have kind of joined forces. I think there's probably, I think last time I heard something, maybe 250,000 active members. So it's really great that we draw from all around the international world to be able to collaborate on some different ideas. Within that Rotary International structure, there's kind of even encouragement for different clubs to kind of partner with other clubs from around the world and do these collaborative projects. In fact, I just got an email from the club president in Madison, one of the clubs in Madison. They're working with a club somewhere in Asia on human trafficking. And Rotary International is going to be able to fund and resource this multi-club project, and other clubs can kind of jump in and be part of that as well, just with raising awareness of trafficking, human trafficking around the world. So it's really kind of, a great dual, double bang for your buck, that you get, local clubs that are generating local initiatives, but you also have this international resource pool that you can also partner with other people. Rotary International is also involved with the Polio Plus Foundation. So Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to end polio around the world. And right now, I think they're under 100 cases, kind of tracking, and it's down like 99% from the mid 90s. So within the next 5, maybe 10 years, polio is going to be completely eradicated. And Rotary International is part of that.
Yeah, that's amazing work that's being done there. Let's switch this back to just talking about Oregon a little bit and the club here. What are your goals? What are you trying to do? And I guess, what's the history of the club?
Yeah, sure. And there are a lot of good clubs, and this is one thing we talk about here in Rotary, that, people are going to find different things that are attractive to them. And what makes a community great is that you have a lot of different clubs with different ideas and different passions. And so everybody's kind of working to make the community better. But yeah, specifically, Rotary is kind of saying, we want to bring people together and invite them to make our community a better place for businesses, for families, for individuals. And really, a big drive for us is the idea of, making it better for people is not just that they can be recipients of things, because we all receive great gifts from the community we're a part of, but also inviting people, how can you be a participant? So not just a recipient, but a participant. What can you do to bring to the table to actually, partner with somebody else and just show up and help serve and be part of something, or show support for other people, or maybe you've got a different idea. And Rotary is one of those clubs that can kind of help really galvanize and drive some of those ideas. With each of our meetings, we start with what is called the 4-way test. And so every meeting, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we have this 4-way test. And so the 4-way test is, of the things we think, say, or do, first, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? So that's kind of really, as we try to frame what we want to do, we're kind of really trying to think through that filter.
That sounds like a really great way to focus your organization.
Yeah.
You're doing an awful lot of different things, though. How do you fund all those things?
Yeah, sure. Obviously inviting new people to be members, and I'll talk a little bit about, kind of membership dues and, inviting people into that maybe later. But beyond that, we also have some ways that we're, kind of present in the community and are able to raise funds through some different things. So probably the best, most well-known is the brat stand at Summerfest. So right underneath Fireman's Pavilion there by the softball fields in town, we kind of have, for the duration of Summerfest, we have that brat fest, or the brat stand set up. And so all of that money, pays for overhead and then goes into kind of funding some of these different projects and activities.
That certainly makes me feel better about all the brats I eat at Summerfest.
There you go. That's right. Right. You're making our community better, Tom. We also have an annual wine and cheese event. Obviously brat stand, we weren't able to do this last year, and then the wine and cheese event as well. But that's also a really fun community event. We sell tickets, and again, once we pay for overhead, then all of that money goes toward funding some of these great projects. And that's so we pair wines and cheeses, kind of local wines, local cheeses together. And it's an evening where people just get together and we raffle off some different gifts and, just fun and social. And then the third thing is we sell poinsettias in November. And so all of those funds as well that we sell go to support some of these great projects. So yeah, we'd love to have, raise the awareness for people to, buy a brat, come to the wine and cheese event, or, buy some poinsettias for your business or church or wherever you'd like to put those around town.
Yeah, we picked up a poinsettia this year at the food pantry, as I recall.
Yeah. And the food pantry was actually where we kind of staged the whole thing so people could pick up their poinsettias there.
So what other projects are coming in the next year? Or do you have some specific plans?
Yeah. One of the ones, so the chief of police here in town is part of Rotary, and she brought to us, and I know she's been sharing this with other people in the community as well, that the police officers would love to have what they're calling de-escalation devices. And that's a big word. And really what that means is they want some help buying fidget spinners and fidget toys, because they've found with some of the different calls that they've gone out on that if someone's able to have one of these little devices to just kind of spin and play with, it actually helps to just lower the temperature of anything that's happening. So what she'd like to have is, each officer has any number of these devices that they can just take on calls with them, and they can leave with the different people that they're visiting with. So that's one project we're working on this year. Also, we've got potentially another project from a new member that he'd like to even start thinking about how can we come and mentor younger students like 8th graders, and start to form relationships with younger students, helping them think about their future and financial planning, some of those things. And then the third one is we're continuing to work with Lerner Park, and there's actually a partner organization, Friends of Lerner Park, and we have kind of started handing off some responsibilities to them, but partnering with them still, to kind of keep that Lerner Park project going. So those are, kind of the big ones that we see coming down the road here.
Yeah, we talked briefly earlier, you mentioned some things about dues and membership and so forth. How do folks get involved in the Oregon Rotary Club? And then what are the requirements? What are the meetings? What goes on with the Rotary Club membership?
Yeah. So anyone above high school can come and be a member of Rotary. And the great thing is for high school students, we've actually got the Interact Club, which is kind of our high school version of the Rotary Club. So we partner with them, and they actually come to some of our meetings to participate and share. But yeah, anybody above high school can come and be a member. We do have monthly dues. So an individual pays $20 a month to be part of the club. And if you're a couple, it's only $30. So you and your spouse can come and do that together. And again, it kind of helps support some of these great projects that we're doing. We meet 2 times a month currently. We meet on the first Tuesday of each month and the third Tuesday of each month. And if you want this information, you can definitely go to our website. You can reach out to me and we can share more information with you. But the first is a 7 a.m. meeting. And the third one is a noontime meeting. And we tried to stagger those just for different professionals, different people in the community. Maybe you can't do early morning, but you could do lunch or vice versa. And those are held here at the church where I'm a pastor, Community of Life Lutheran Church. And again, it's open to anyone.
Excellent.
So, and also we do provide a Zoom link. So each of those meetings is, it's a hybrid meeting. So people do Zoom in as well.
Okay. Now, Jim, that pretty much wraps up the questions that I had planned. Can you just give us a key message you'd like to leave with our listeners?
Yeah. And it really does kind of go back to Rotary is, I believe, a great club in our community. And, in this ideal world, if every single person was part of something that was bigger than just them, what a great impact and influence and support system we'd have in this community. So I'd invite you to think about some club in Oregon or some group in Oregon that's doing something, so you can be part of, not just receiving things, but also participating in that. Rotary is a great club because I think kind of there is that balance of the local people doing what is locally needed and in touch with the local, situation that's here. But then also we have that international resource pool, and it allows us to kind of pull both of those together and really work and share best practices. We have a great, twice a month meeting. People are able to bring in different topics and kind of keep hearing about what's going on in the community. So we'd love anybody who's interested to reach out to me. My email is jmccoid@communityoflife.us. Or you can also go to our website, OregonRotary.org, and you can get information and connect with us that way.
That is some great information. Pastor Jim, we really appreciate you joining us on this week's episode of the Oregon Minute. I want to thank you for all the support you've provided to our community, and we really look forward to your continuing to do great things in Oregon.
Great. Thanks for having me, Tom.
That wraps up another episode of the Oregon Minute. Tune in each week to hear from community leaders and organizations in the Oregon area. If you have comments or suggestions for episodes, we'd love to hear from you. Please contact us at ocamedia.com. Thanks for watching. You're watching OCA Media, your Oregon Community Access Station.